shame and grace, and how we shouldn't feel shameful during hard times or during mistakes, rather than feeling more graceful for even being able to just experience life and experiencing hard times, like appreciating the struggle and still being able to forgive ourselves through hardships. 2 Corinthians chapter 12 verse 9 through 11. But he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is perfected in weakness. Therefore I will most gladly boast all the more about my weaknesses, so that Christ's power may reside in me. So I take pleasure in weakness, insults, hardships, persecutions, and in difficulties, for the sake of Christ. For when I am weak, then I am strong. This is a very good verse when it comes to grace. How grace rises over weaknesses. How in weakness, when we fall, let's say we fall to sin, or we make a mistake, or we feel bad about a situation that we committed when we was wrong, and we're prideful about that situation. We don't want to admit that we was wrong, or we really just feel bad. We're internally conflicted. We should give ourselves grace and forgive ourselves, or forgive others that do us wrong. But instead we feel shame or anger, where it brings us down even deeper into the situation, and it just doesn't solve the issue. Shame keeps us where we're at. Shame blocks us from growth. Shame is just a negative construct where we give ourselves, like, it's normalized. Shame is, we should feel shameful because we shouldn't have done that, but we are human, and we're gonna make mistakes, and we're gonna live in difficult times and hardships, where we can't just bury ourselves in that hole of shame and that hole of depression and that hole of doubt, of where we think nothing is gonna get better. And that's just shame. That's just shame of yourself, and you shouldn't view yourself as that. You are better than your shame and your mistakes. Just because you made mistakes, that's not who you are. And automatically feeling shameful and letting that shame bring you down is us letting the enemy win. So we won't be able to see the positive construct of the mistake we made, the lesson from the mistake, the thing we needed to learn, to grow, to take next steps, to not make that mistake again. Shame keeps us away from the beauty of life, from the freedom we should be living in. Shame just keeps us down, and we just gonna keep feeling more shameful and more shameful. It's a cycle. It keeps us away from repentance, from that repentance, asking God for that repentance, so we cannot make that same mistake again. Shame doesn't do nothing but make us feel bad, and that's why grace is so important. Because grace reinstills that love we have for ourselves, for that ability to forgive and forget, that ability to really hone in on the situation and say, hey, I fell short, but it's okay. I will get up again and be better. Be a better man, to be able to reach my goals, or just grow as a person, or just help others. Wherever you're trying to go, grace helps you get there. You're not gonna reach that point every time. You're not gonna be perfect every time, and we're not looking for that perfection. And through grace, you're able to take those mini victories, those little steps, and you're able to appreciate the goodness within you. Grace opens up our minds into the world of positivity. Same way we should give ourselves grace, we should give others grace. And we should give God grace. Because ain't nothing perfect in the world. We live in an imperfected world. So we shouldn't expect perfection. We should want progression. And progression is through grace. It's through forgiving of yourself. You should really just forgive. Make sure you're forgiving yourself. You're giving yourself grace even when you make a mistake. Even when you make a mistake that you made 1,000,000 times. You need to give yourself grace, and you need to go about that situation a different way. You shouldn't be mellow in shame. You shouldn't stay in shame. You shouldn't mellow in depression. You need to rise above that and give yourself grace and ask God for forgiveness. Ask God for forgiveness and ask God for help. Don't do it alone. Don't do it alone. Don't try to solve the same problem you can't solve. You can't do it alone. You gotta give yourself grace and allow people to enter your life, or allow God to work in your life, so you able to rise above the situation. Go about the situation a different way, and that's through grace. That's through grace. That's through the strength God gives us. That's not through our own strength. That's through His strength. Through our grace, through His strength. Ask God for grace. If you don't have grace, ask God to teach you how to be graceful to yourself. It's very important. Grace is very important, especially for people that are hard on themselves all the time. You gotta be graceful. You gotta be graceful. Thank you for listening to this message. Just remember, you're not alone. I don't want you to do this alone. It's a hard world we live in. We make mistakes, and it's okay. Give yourself grace, and just make sure you follow, just join my Discord community, Mindful Impact with Jay, and just all love, y'all. All love.